Hello and welcome back to Let's Win Remote Viewing Tournament for October 6, 2020. Last time we did a little surgery on the title of this program. It's Let's Win Remote Viewing Tournament. That's for me. That's for all of you playing along at home. You are welcome. You're invited to win. We are in a competition against chance. We are not really in a competition against each other. But if it helps you to feel like you're beating me, go ahead. Take that emotional energy. Today, we're going to talk about emotional energy, but first, let's revisit the results from the other day. If you recall, we had done a dream prediction with Slim Shady, the results of which were correct. We picked the correct picture of the hands and the sparklers. The sparklers are slim, and the image is kind of shady. In my additional ideogram, it has a feeling of structure, of man-made structure, and then also natural. If we look back at the photo, there is a structure and also natural. You can even see a similarity between the shape of this skyline or shadows with the ideogram. It's sort of reversed left to right, but that's like a structure, and that's like the natural part of the tree line. Just imagine it flipped. And here, this ideogram reminds me of the hand holding a sparkler. I had an analytic overlay of a spout, and a spout sort of pours things or spews things out. Sparklers do the same thing. They spew out sparks, right? I think there are some compelling matches here to say that this was a legitimate hit and not just a random chance, especially when combined with the dream message of Slim Shady. Since then, I have had 2 losses, but I kind of hedged my losses here. I don't want to focus on losses much anymore. And that's because I'm going to take a Jack Houck-like approach. Now, Jack Houck, remote viewing researcher, worked with aerospace corporations like McDonnell Douglas, I believe. So Jack's innovation is that when viewers are targeted on a certain coordinate, that their initial point of observation might be a time of highest emotional intensity. What we're looking at here is emotional intensity going up on the y-axis, and on the x-axis is time. We have area of past and the future. And here's the point of the greatest emotional intensity, and it's also where the remote viewer picks up on the theoretical signal. Some people might call this a temporal attractor. They might say it's numinous, which I may not have spelled correctly. I like to think of it as shiny, as something that just stands out. In my experience, it doesn't have to be an emotion at the site, but it could also be something aesthetically pleasing that may make it seem to stand out more between 2 different choices, such as within a remote viewing tournament. And here's Jack's innovation. What if we can make the present or future more attractive by cultivating positive emotions or mindset at that time? Jack went around and taught this idea and said that he was turned down. So he started doing something called PK parties, where he would get a large group of people together, get them very happy, excited, energetic, and then see if they could bend spoons, make seeds sprout, and do all kinds of crazy things with metal bars because of that positive mental energy. He has since done well over 100, maybe 200 such events in his lifetime, much like a Uri Geller, but where he challenges the crowd to do it. In cultivating a winning mindset, we don't want to pay too much attention to our losses. We don't want to make our losses filled up with negative emotional intensity, because that may be an attractor. That negative energy might be an attractor. Instead, can we cultivate positive energy? Feel happy and excited when we're doing the prediction. Feel happy and excited when we get our correct results, and then see if that steers us down the intended timeline towards choosing correct image. I'll have to say that in the months that I did really well with the remote viewing tournament, I really had a sense of excitement and energy that was building up towards something. I'm not quite feeling that now, but I'm hoping to cultivate it, in part by sharing these ideas and this experience with you, by giving some added stakes by having an audience. Having said all that, let's go ahead and do today's round, okay? First, I have a feeling of marching or progression as I draw the ideogram. We'll say that's accompanied by an analytic overlay of a galloping horse, for example. Take a break for a moment. I have impressions of small steps or mounds. It's giving me impressions of a patterned placement. Something reminded me of a Houck when I drew that. I'm going to call that last one a miss. It felt like my analytic mind was reproducing the prior ideogram and it wasn't a spontaneous event. We have an old-fashioned black locomotive resting on a train track. Or we have two angelfish in an aquarium. I'm gonna go with the train track because I had a feeling of small steps or mounds in a pattern placement. I sometimes have had sensations of, say, imagine I'm running past an object and I'm dragging my hand along it. I have in the past been able to feel intervals such as bars on a railing, on a fence, or spaces on a fence, or impressions between bricks. It's kind of a combination of a texture and emotion. So if you were running past a train track and you had your arm out at the right depth, you might feel that as your hand is touching the rails that stick up. I also had an impression of marching or progression in a galloping horse, which is associated, I think, with power and motion, and that's pretty much what a locomotive does. So I'm going to go with that black locomotive and seal the deal here.
Yay, woo, we're so excited. Catch you next time.